Uh-oh, we have to stop eating.
Or at least mute, huh?
Nobody has to stop eating. It's May 14th, and here we go. I've got my, I don't know what week this is, week 7 or 8 of my Corona hair. It's getting a little further and further out of control every week, but
Yeah.
hey, that's just the way it goes. But anyway, if you guys have questions in particular, just feel free, unmute, come on out, ask away.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Greg.
I think this is a relatively simple one.
Okay.
I just want to know what you think of answering Quora questions as a traffic source.
It's hard to really say without knowing what the questions are and how many people are looking at it. But just in general, I think it's a good idea.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
I lost you for a minute. Maybe it's my connection, but
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, we can hear him.
oh,
Okay.
darn it.
Okay. Well, anyway, it really depends on how many people are looking, but just in general, you know, anywhere where you can interact with a community of people that is your base is a good thing to do. What you want to do when you're doing that is do SEO without doing SEO. I know,
that is what is attracting me, because what I'm learning is, and what the SEO that I'm practicing based on other courses, they tell me to look for keywords that are not competitive. And there are also keywords that have no money value if you get them. Whereas this strategy, you can go for any keyword in any niche, and you have Buzzsumo to tell you where the hot questions are.
Correct. Yeah, Buzzsumo will do that. Also, SEMRush will do that. You can find out, you know, what the most popular questions are around any given keyword. But when you're actually in there, when you're doing your thing, you're writing your comments, you're doing your stuff, don't be spammy. Like an SEO guy would go in there and he would do exact match phrases and link them to particular pages. That is okay to do sporadically. But if that's all you're doing, you're going to be over optimized. And wherever you're doing this, the administrators are going to see what you're doing, and they're probably going to kick you out.
Right.
So
it's also like an email list where, and that's the mistake I made with my email lists in the past, is I pounded them with affiliate offers, and eventually they unsubscribed.
Yeah, you've got to provide real value. When you provide real value, then you know it's not like a quick bang for the buck. If you're in that realm, that's the greasy, dirty water, and it very rarely pays off. And I've never seen it really pay off long term. It's just not really the way to go. Here's something that I've recently learned about Google, about a new thing that they're doing. And I don't know that it's really new. It's been around for a while. The whole OCR, where they can recognize what is in an image, like they can actually read text out of an image. There's been software around for a long time that you could scan a text document, and I believe it's called OCR, could actually read the text. So that technology, we have seen it. We've tested this now, and we know that Google is doing this because we have seen moves in tests where the only thing on the pages are images of keywords. So, excuse me. I don't know what's going on there. But we have, beyond a shadow of a doubt, we know they're reading text inside images. So a lot of the SEO guys, you know, the guys that are, they consider themselves black hat, they do crazy stuff. They're a lot of them are one-trick ponies. What you'll see them doing right now is they're grabbing the newest thing and trying to exploit it. And they're putting these word cloud images on their websites. And Google is able to read the word cloud. Word clouds are really good for SEO. The reason being is the word cloud shows all the relevant terms. It's not just about hammering one term. It's about all the related terms around it. So that's a really good way to inject content, highly relevant content, into your, not only your websites, but also your social media posts.
I think I know what you're talking about when you say web cloud, because I see that.
Word cloud.
Yeah, word cloud. Where is it? It's either Moz or the other one that begins with M.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know what a word cloud is, it's an image of a bunch of words that, you know, look like they're random, but they're really not. And the bigger word, usually there's a bigger word in the middle of the word cloud. And that's your keyword. That's your most important main topic keyword. And then as the words go out around it, they get smaller based on their relevancy to how closely related they are to the main keyword. So that's what a word cloud is. And there's a lot of different software that will do that. It'll create word clouds for you. I believe somewhere I've seen them in Google itself. They'll have word cloud technology going on, but you can see it without the graphical thing. You can see it right on Google's homepage. When you run a search, if you scroll down to the bottom of the search results, there'll be a bunch of links there, a bunch of keywords for related terms. That's what's drawn into the word cloud. That's basically what it's made up of.
And what part of Google is that?
Any part. You can just go to Google and just run a search for any keyword. And when you scroll to the bottom, you'll see the related search terms or search phrases. I don't know what they call it. That is basically what makes up the word cloud.
Well, you know, that is something, there is one of the gurus who sold me a $2,000 product who claims that he never uses things like SEMRush for keyword research. What he uses is he puts in the keyword in Google and then he sees the Google suggestions, and that's what he uses as his keywords.
Okay. Well, where do you think SEMrush gets its information?
Well, but that's the thing. I think SEMrush gets it from the keyword planner.
Well, it's pulling it from all different sources. SEMrush is pulling the answers out of, you know, it's all coming out of Google, really.
Right.
Google is the base source for all the keyword information. But to not use a tool like SEMrush, if I were to go in there and let's say I wanted to do keyword research on any given topic, if I were to do it that way, going into Google and plucking all that stuff out by hand, I'd be there for the next week trying.
Oh no, there's a software that does it automatically.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's a Chrome extension.
Okay, yeah, you always want software to do those kind of processes.
Yeah.
What is the Chrome extension?
Let me see if I can get it in my notes. I have it. It will take me like 3 minutes.
Yeah, a lot of times, yeah, you got to be careful with those Chrome extensions because a lot of times they're feeding your data back to the guy that made the Chrome extension. That was one of the things that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
Some of those guys do that for a particular reason. It's almost like, you know, in Amazon gives you this beautiful place to play and put your products up to sell, right? Well, they have an ulterior motive. They're doing that as a test ground for you to spend your money to test products to see what's hot. And as soon as they see a hot one, guess what? They go over to China and they knock it off. And then you're kind of hosed.
I got into that with using what do they call prep companies to do the prep of my products. And once I told them that I'm not going to give them access to my Amazon account, never heard from them again. Because what they really wanted was to be able to see my Amazon account and what's selling, and then they could just copy me.
Yeah, yeah. You want to be careful, you know, how you share your data and who you share it with. So that could be problematic. So, all right. So, but yeah, that whole word cloud thing and the fact that OCR is coming into an actual ranking factor is pretty interesting. And back to the whole thing where I was going, when you're doing these posts, let's say you're answering questions on different sites, or even doing stuff, even posts in social media, what is important is there's a thing called citations. And a citation is basically an instance of something that is credible to Google to verify a fact. So citations could be your business address. It could be your company name attached to a business address. It could be your brand company name attached to a keyword without links. Google doesn't need links to figure stuff out. Believe me, they're analyzing all the data across the entire internet, and their AI is figuring out what's important and what belongs together. You know, for years, the SEO industry has talked about LSI, latent semantic indexing. And all that really is, it's just what keywords relate to other keywords and how they're all intertwined. Like, for instance, I'll use the example of baseball. You know, if you were in the topic of baseball, and baseball was your keyword, let's say you're just going for a generic keyword, LSI keywords that are related to baseball would be anything just that. Could be stadium, it could be home run, could be first base, shortstop, bat, ball, glove. All of those are related LSI terms. And when Google sees a body of content, being a website with multiple pages, that is catering to all of those different terms, it gives priority to that site because it's a quality content source. So to find out what those LSI keywords are, that's where you can go down to the bottom of Google and you can look at the related terms. That's exactly what they are. Those are LSI terms. So if you build those into your site, let's say you build a page about a particular keyword, and you go down and you look at what's on Google's page as related terms, you should, as much as possible, be trying to work those words into your content because they make sense to be there. And if you do that, Google will more than likely rank you for a whole lot more keywords than you were trying for to begin with. And that will bring you a lot more traffic. You don't have to go after like main heavy hitter keywords. You don't have to go after keywords that has 10,000 visitors a month to do really good business. Really good business is done specifically. Like, I know most of you guys have been through the ACT program at this point. It's about the specifics of business. It's about the specifics of what someone wants and why they want it. They don't typically go for generic keywords when they're searching. They might start there. They might start the education process there. But what they're going to do, they're going to keep refining the search till they get closer and closer and closer to what they want. That last keyword that they type in before they make their purchase is going to be a very specific long tail keyword. And there's probably not a lot of people on the internet that are typing in that search. So for an SEO guy, he'll look at that and he'll say, I'm not going to optimize for that keyword. That's the wrong thing to do because that's the keyword that they're going to pay you for. That's the one you should be most interested in. You don't need a bunch of people on your site. You need a few buyers. A few buyers will change everything for you. A whole bunch of traffic isn't going to do anything for you. You know, I mean, if you look at it as a numbers game, yeah, even a blind squirrel will get a nut, but I would prefer to play the game the smart way and get the right people over and not have a bunch of people calling me that are just going to burn up and waste my time. I want real buyers, real prospects that I can actually serve. So specifics, if you're playing the game as a game of specifics, you're going to be a lot more successful and you'll have a lot less frustration. And it will all look a lot more natural to Google. You're not going to put yourself in a situation where Google's going to look at your site, look at what you're doing, and go, yeah, that just stinks to high heaven. Let's not have anything to do with that. Because that's typically what will happen when you take the traditional perspective of SEO and you just go and you just try and hammer stuff unnaturally. So SEO is about providing quality content. It's about providing a good user experience. That is really, that's the core driver behind Google and any search engine, is the user experience. That's what they're in it for. And if you don't know the reason why behind that, it's because their ad dollars drive them. If they don't provide a good user experience, they lose readership. When they lose readership, they lose ad dollars. In the ad world, it's all based on circulation. It always has been. If you can go back to Hearst Publications back in the mid last century, the more readers they had for their papers and their magazines, the more they charged their advertisers. It was called circulation. The sales of ads are based on circulation. It's how many eyeballs are going to see that ad. Google is no different. It's just the new electronic version of that. Circulation is the number of people that use them as a search source. So if they don't provide a good user experience, their users are going to go somewhere else. They're going to go to Bing, or they're going to go to Yahoo, or they're going to go to DuckDuckGo, and their circulation shrinks. When their circulation shrinks, they can't charge their advertisers as much. They will defend that kingdom to the death. They have billions of dollars to do it. So if you think about that, if you're in the SEO world, or you're thinking about trying to get organic traffic, you need to think about what's important to them and get on their side. You know, if you wind up being the little guy standing in front of a dragon throwing rocks at him, it's not going to end well. You need to pet him, stroke him, get on his back and go for a ride. That's what it's all about. And when you do that, it's long term. You will get benefit out of your SEO for decades into the future. You know, that's what it's all about. So anyway, you know, I hate the quick buck artists in the game, because they just muddy it up something terrible. And it just, every time somebody comes out with some newfangled trick and they just throw all the firepower at it, it diminishes it. Google figures it out very quickly, and then they'll discard it. So it's really cool being in the SEO to have things that actually work. And the only way you can keep that stuff working is if it's based on my cloud cover methodology. And the short end of that, what cloud cover is, it's doing things in a natural way so you're not identified. You don't want anything that you do to stand out on the radar that you were disingenuous. You don't want to be looked at as scammy. So anyway, hopefully, sometimes I just think like I get on these rants and I don't want to be that guy. But you ask how I felt about it. I feel pretty strongly about SEO in most cases. And I feel pretty strongly about the way some people do it. That's not right. And it just makes it harder for the rest of us. You know, if you just do what works in marketing, which is create the right messaging for your customer and give them what they want and what they need, everyone will be happy. Guaranteed you're going to make more sales. Guaranteed Google's going to like what they see when they send people to your site. Guaranteed they're going to send you more. Guaranteed that's going to work for a long, long time. You know, good SEO, real, true, organic SEO is like a snowball. You know, Google doesn't want to just pile the snow on you. They want to drop a few flakes on you and see what happens. You know, how fast do those flakes melt when they hit the ground? As they send more and more traffic your way, if you can not melt the snowflakes, then they'll come faster and faster and faster. And it truly is like a snowball. If Google starts sending you traffic for, let's say, 12 keywords, and they like what they see, what they're going to want to do is they're going to want to split test you on other keywords. When they do that, when you hold up and you perform, then they're going to raise you in the rank. It's just going to be a snowball effect. When I look in SEMRush at people that have done their SEO correctly, and they've done it that way for a good long time, they rank for thousands of keywords, sometimes tens of thousands of keywords. Imagine the traffic, imagine all the real long tail specific keywords those are the buyer keywords, and they're getting all that traffic. I mean, that's a ride you want to take. And it doesn't happen overnight. You know, if you just do things right for the long term, it will happen for you, but it doesn't happen overnight. You know, I get every time we sell the software, we sell SEO software called SitePop. And what it does is it sends search signals so you can kind of even up the playing field. But I get so many people that buy that software, and even though every step of the way, when we're selling it, when we're training on it, all the way through, I'm telling people how to use it, how to get the best out of it. And I'm constantly getting, almost every day, I'm getting emails and support tickets in of, you know, I put it on last week and it's not ranking these keywords. I look at the keywords, they're generic keywords. I'm like, why would you want to rank that keyword anyway? And it just drives me nuts. But anyway, they don't get the strategy. They're quick buck bang artists, and it just doesn't, it's not a viable deal. So anyway, what else do you guys want to hear about today? What else is Dwayne, go ahead. Hey, welcome to the call. This is your first one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think I'm through video 14 in the ACT program, and it's amazing. I'm loving it.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, it's really,
So,
it's the real deal.
it is. It's just so much more in depth. It's great. So I have a question. So I've been a holistic attorney and meditation teacher, do compassionate emotional work with my clients. And I'm creating this online workshop to take people from legal anxiety, overwhelm, dysfunction to calm, clear, confident, successful, right? So I do this training program. So I have several micro targets, or, you know, areas of law, you know, criminal and child custody and divorce and real estate litigation and mediation, arbitration. So my program is more of an inner work development, tuning you up to do well, kind of a program. So my question is, I have a lot of good articles and writings that micro target these. You know, I have a great story about a woman losing her kid because she was overdosed by her psychologist. And CPS takes her away, and the trauma of going into an IRS office and the trauma of litigation and all of that. Can I do my keywords and advertising and storytelling, marketing in those sub niches and lead them all to one solution, one program?
Yes, you can absolutely do that.
That's good. I'm happy about
it. No, that is absolutely what you want to do. And what I did, I actually looked at your site the other day when you had sent me that email, and I was hoping that you would be on the call today because I got some good pointers for you on here.
Okay.
One thing that you were missing on your homepage, basically, you had an offer. You know, you had all the right components, but one of the big things that you were missing was the big idea. So if you go back into the ACT program and go through the part on the big idea, that's in the creation process. So you may not be there yet, but that's going to be a really important key element for you to get your traffic to convert. The other thing is you said it perfectly. You've got these different sub niches, and they all have different keywords, and it really truly is a different avatar. The same product can serve multiple niches. So you don't have to develop all these different products. You just have to develop different marketing funnels to sell them. And it's basically called an angle. It's a different angle for a different person to solve the same problem. But each one of those angles is based on a big idea that serves that segment of the market. So identifying your market segments is really a key thing for you. And then identifying like the keywords for each one, treat each one, it really is, it's a different avatar. It's like if you met 5 people in a bar, let's say you went out to a bar 5 nights in a row, and each night you met a different person with the different problem that you had mentioned, like one of them might be divorce, one of them might be bankruptcy, IRS audit, and each night you met a different person. Would you have the same conversation?
No.
No. That's what I'm talking about. So you have to identify those different people, those different little pods of people, and figure out what the conversation is. What is important to them? How are they feeling? Because they all feel differently because they have different problems. The solution might be the same, and that is perfectly fine. So what you do when you create, what I always recommend is don't try and do them all at once. Because if you try and eat the elephant in one bite, you're going to get indigestion. It's too much. So what I'd like to do is when I look at the segments, I lay them all out in front of me. I'm like, okay, here's my 5 segments. Of these 5, which one is going to be the most profitable for me? And sometimes I look at profit not necessarily as dollars, but enjoyment in life. Like there might be one segment that I really like to work with those people. And when I'm working with those people, it doesn't feel like a job. And I still make plenty of money. I might make more money in this other niche, but they're going to be a pain in my ass. So my life is going to be, degraded because I'm working with them. Yeah, I'm making more money, but is it worth it? So that's what I look at, which one is for me, which one is the most profitable ideal market for me? If I had to pick one, which one would it be? And then I go to work. I put everything focused into that one, and I create a marketing campaign for that person. And once I get it done, and once I get it dialed in, and it's tested and it's working, and I'm tweaking it, and I feel like, hey, this thing is awesome. Now I'm ready to scale it up. At that point, I can simply clone the entire campaign, change the languaging slightly for the next pocket. And all roads in the campaign, it's all building towards the same outcome, which is the product that's going to deliver the desired outcome. So
Nice.
you can scale it up very rapidly that way versus trying to do them all and never really getting any of them dialed in, and you never really get anywhere. You're really busy, but you never get to the finish line. Versus being really busy for a very short time and making a home run and then getting back up to the plate and let's make another one. It's much easier to do that.
Mhm.
If I could just say, I have to go back to work now, but I did put that Chrome extension in the chat.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, thank you for that.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
Okay, Greg, thanks. Firefox extension. Okay, hey, popped it in there. So anyway, does that, hopefully that's good news for you.
It is. That's great. Thank you. I have other questions, but I'll stop here and leave some room for other people.
Yeah, and then, you know, back to you really before we leave that point, on your website, there's no way really to make a generic offer that's going to appeal to everyone.
Yeah.
And what will probably happen is it will appeal to no one.
Yeah.
So what I like to do on the website is I like to try and self-segment as quickly as possible to get people where they want to go. And then your content, like you said, you had a bunch of articles on each different silo. You want to do just that. You want to silo the site into these different segments where when somebody self-selects, they go into that segment, and then all the content in that segment is about them.
Beautiful. Yeah, I can do that right at the top. Just have them click on an area. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly. So that will serve you well if you kind of build your whole structure around that format.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Brilliant.
Absolutely. All right, who's up next here? Let's see. Shantha, I am excited about trying banner season out. As you know, I finally bought into it after all this time, and
Thank you, John. You're going to love it. I can't wait to get Barb started on it.
yeah, that was my hope that that you'd get her dialed in.
Yeah.
Because I used to send stuff out to to clients and stuff every year, and it's just, as we get older and we get more things in our life, you know how that goes. But when I saw it, I'm like, that is really cool. And I know that I have had people, from different categories send me the brownies, and I just, every time I get that box, I'm so excited just for a brownie, right?
They're really delicious though.
Yeah, oh yeah, not to mention how good they are. Just the fact that I got sent a treat is just awesome. And it's like a seal. You feed the seal a fish, and what's he going to do? He's going to do the trick again, whatever he did to get the fish. And that was one thing that a veterinarian taught me this when I got my first dog. And as soon as he said it, I related it to humans. It's, he was telling me how to train the dog. And as soon as he said it, I swear, I instantly said, that ain't for dogs. That's for anyone, and especially referrals. So the thing that he said was, behavior that's rewarded is repeated. So he said, if you're trying to train your dog to do something you want, every time he does what you want, you reward him, because the rewarded behavior will be repeated. So, and that's exactly what you have. You have this way, for those of you that don't know, Shantha has a program called Banner Season, and it's a way to send things to your prospects and your customers as kind of rewards, thank you rewards, thank you cards, gifts, all this stuff. And you load your customers up into a database, and it does all the work for you. There's no going to the store and buying the stuff, no going to the post office and sending it, no packaging it. You get rid of all that stuff right out of your hair, and it just does it. You can set up things on a schedule, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you can set stuff up on a schedule to like send out on their birthday, maybe their anniversary. You can collect all this data. The more you know about your customers, the more they feel connected to you. And the more connected they are to you, I talk about this a lot, lifetime value of a customer. I talk about this in my program over and over and over. It is really difficult and it's really expensive to acquire a customer. And it's really easy to lose them because other people are hitting them. Like every time I take on an SEO client, I start work for a client, and the next thing I'll get is they'll send me an email from somebody that is soliciting them. And they'll say, is this really true? You know, and it's not, it's spam, it's garbage spam. But you've got all these other people trying to throw you under the bus. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You have competitors that are willing to badmouth you. If it's not you directly, it's your industry or whatever. But what they're doing is they're putting a bug in your customer's ear that they're better than you. Even if they're not saying it directly, that's what they're doing. And they're doing it for client acquisition. And I guarantee you, I don't care how good you are or how much you spend or anything like that, no matter what, there's going to be people out there that are just better. Not that they're better, they're just doing a better job. Maybe they've got a better system, or they've got more people at their disposal. Maybe they're, you know, they're bigger, they've got more, you know, employees that can do the stuff where we're on our own, you know, we have to do everything individually. So that's what you're up against. So when you can put something like this in your tool belt to help you retain those customers, like if you send somebody a brownie and they get an email from someone else trying to scoop them away, what do you think is going to happen? You know, they're not going to go for it. They're going to come back and they're going to ask your advice. So if you didn't send the brownie and you're just one of many people that they're paying money to, and they get an email from someone else, they might not reach out to you. They might just try that person out. But it's that, you know, it's all about building a relationship. The more you know about them, like when you know their birthday, the other guy that's hitting them doesn't know their birthday, doesn't know their kids' names. He doesn't know their anniversaries. You know, it's that whole relationship thing is really, really important as far as client retention. And not just clients. I mean, this works with everything. This works with friends, employees, whatever. If you look at company structure, if you look at a company, a corporation, that all of their employees are like family, that is an indestructible company. I mean, they'll go to war for each other because of the environment that was created. You have the ability to do that with your customers. They're going to go to war with you, and they will fight for you, and they will refer you. And again, that's, you know, so if any of you guys are interested in that, you should definitely talk to Shanta about her program. It's really cool. And the brownies are freaking delicious. If nothing else, just get it to send them to yourself.
I love to send them all abroad, yeah.
Can you send your own stuff? Like, you know?
Well, you can customize. They have like a product line, and you can put your logos on it. You can customize their stuff. If you had your own like widget, I don't think they do that. But,
yeah, they don't. Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Another cool one that I saw in there in the catalog was it was a little golf ball that was custom printed, and it said, what did it say? I'm not hiding from.
Yeah, I'm not lost. I'm just hiding from, and then you can put your whoever name it is.
Yeah.
Put their logo on it.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's the kind of stuff that people remember. You know, when they get that, they're going to remember you. And when someone else comes and tries to scoop them away, they're going to be very resistant to that. And when somebody comes to them as a referral and says, hey, who do you use for so-and-so? Who do you think they're going to refer? they're going to say, oh man, go to Shanta. You're going to get brownies on your birthday. You know, that's what they remember. You know, it's like the old adage of salespeople. You know, the sales guy that goes from one company to the next that sells the same stuff, guess what? He usually takes all of his customers with him. It wasn't about the product they were buying, it was who they were buying it from. It was that relationship. So I guarantee you, if you don't do anything else in life, if you just focus on your customers and serving them long term, the lifetime value of those customers, it's crazy how much it's worth. Like, what would you rather do? Make a single sale and then go and have to make another one? Or make a single sale and have that generate income for life and bring other people with it? You know, that's a pretty nice kind of snowball to put to work for you. When you get snowballs working for you, those are really good employees. That is like the best employee you could possibly have, is a snowball rolling things down in your favor. So
yeah. The cool thing about this, John, too, is it's not branded anywhere. So nowhere does it have the company name. So everybody thinks that I sent it personally. Somebody even asked me if I made the brownies.
Yeah. And
yeah, so that's an advantage.
Yeah, I saw where you can actually put your logo on the brownie package itself too.
Yeah.
Which that's really cool. And another thing that Shantha did, when I don't remember when it was, but you sent Barb and you sent us I think she got a mug with a photograph of our 30-year anniversary picture on it. I gotta tell you, she just about did backflips in her chair when she opened that box. I mean, that was really cool. So, you know, to just create that kind of experience with people is really phenomenal. It's hard to do, but with this, you've got a machine to do it for you. And I love that. I love when I can put something to work to do the heavy lifting for me. So I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to get started on that and really get that kicked in gear. I've known about the technology for years, and just, you know, other companies have done it. That I tried to get my wife to do it with another company, and it was just too confusing and all that. And then when I saw Shantha's, I'm like, wow, that's a piece of cake. I think we can pull that off.
Yeah. One quick thing, in one of the programs, at the same plan that you're on, John, you can send unlimited postcards every month and only pay the postage. So if you're doing any prospecting, you get a group list of names you want to send them, you can do it every month, just send them, or every other month, just to keep on top of mind with them.
Yeah. That's a really good point, because like what I was talking to Dwayne about just a few minutes ago, is coming up with the big idea for your clients. Now, one thing that you want to do when you start building your mailing list, you want to make damn sure that it's segmented. Like Dwayne, when you start putting people into your mailing list and start putting opt-ins on your site, make sure that they don't all just dump into the same database. They can dump into the same database, but make sure they're tagged. Like if you have people that come in for divorce, make sure they have a divorce tag on them. When you have people come in for IRS audit, make sure they have the IRS audit tag on them.
Do you have to do that each by hand, John? Like go through your whole list?
No. When you're building the list, like you'll have different opt-ins, and I use Kartra. I absolutely love Kartra because it makes this so easy. You can create as many different opt-in forms as you want, and in there in Kartra, you just tell it what you want to do. Like put the people in this database, put this tag on them, put them in this follow-up sequence, add them here, add them there. You can really create an automated system with Kartra to do all of that. And then you can also set in Kartra, you can set things called automations, which means, let's say if someone opts in on your website and you start your marketing campaign. Kartra now is delivering the sequence for the marketing campaign. The whole purpose is to educate them on why you're the best solution for them, with the goal of getting them to purchase the product or the service. So in Kartra, when they purchase the product or service, you want to stop that marketing campaign. You don't want to continue to hit them with that because they already purchased. So you can create an automation in there that says, if the person makes the purchase, stop this sequence and add them to this sequence. And then you start a campaign based on customer loyalty. You want to make sure that they can consume your product line. And I got to tell you, I'm very guilty at not doing this. I tell everybody about it and I help everyone else do it. But, you know, when it comes to the cobbler, he ain't got no shoes on, and that's me. So I do what I say, not what I do. Like, you know, if you run an SEMRush report on my site, it's a disaster. It's because I'm doing this for everyone else. I spend very little time on my own stuff. But I'm telling you, it's so powerful. I have done this, like in the past. I did a thing where I was selling a membership, and this was to a thing called the SEO Dominator Club back in, I think it was about 2010. And I had like 800 people in the club, and I sent out an email, and I got a bunch of people to, you know, to take me up on the offer. And then when I went to close the offer out, I wanted a few more people in the program. So I sent another email out with a special deal, and guess what? It went to the whole list. It didn't just go to the ones that hadn't ordered already. Well, that created a very bad vibe that, hey, why are you giving a better deal when I bought it last week at this price? That's what Kartra and their automations will prevent that from ever happening. So it's a really cool program, but just, you know, setting it up in the right way is really important. And that's why I did that 2-day funnel camp where I kind of went through the whole process of all the different aspects of how to build your Kartra campaigns. So that was a really really powerful training. But yeah, that's awesome stuff. And Shantha put her link down there from inbox to mailbox.com. So if you guys are interested, I would highly recommend it. It's a really cool deal. And she's been awesome too. You know, she's like me. She doesn't just sell you something and walk away. She's right there to help you every step of the way. So that's really cool for that too.
Thank you, John.
Absolutely. All right. So what else we got here? Got Mr. Wolf up there. He is back with the program here. You're in here every week now. That's awesome. Okay. Any other stuff? Allie, how is it going with Mr. Woody? I don't see him on here today.
He just texted me. He says it's launching, but it isn't going anywhere. So.
Oh, the Zoom?
Yeah, I don't know how to get him on. Oh, okay. So he's making good progress. We worked together yesterday, and he has a really good friend so he wrapped his head around making the shift to offering real estate and coming up with a program that will help people. And I even think he's stepping away from he wants to still do the enjoy your joy, but he's not going to, it's going to be, this is going to be focused on
he
real estate. And so Tuesday and Wednesday.
He doesn't have to completely give up on that. That can be the outcome of what comes out of successfully implementing his program.
Right. so, well, that's what we talked about, but to have a product to sell. So his friend, his name is Richard, and they're going to develop something called a syndication program, which is where you can help people buy real estate and you don't have to know anything, and you chip in, and from what I understand, that they're going to create a program where they buy a piece of real estate and it's like a no-brainer. You don't have to know anything. It's like an investment, and then you get the return on your investment. So, and then that's one thing. And then Woody and Richard are working on still how to, help people buy and sell houses in local Los Angeles. And especially offering it like a high value service where taking, like Dwayne is doing with the law, people buying a house is the biggest purchase most anybody will ever make. And so there's a lot of nerves and there's a lot of shysters out there. So they want to be the people that are the good guys and really have your back. And of course, Woody wants to also specialize in helping handicapped people. And then he had a conversation with Marianne Eamon, and she had an idea for him that he liked, which my head is killing me right now, so I'm sorry, I can't remember.
No problem.
So the bottom line is it's moving forward because he's got his head wrapped around the whole real estate idea. And
yeah, because where he was really struggling, and he didn't even know he was struggling.
Right.
But his struggle was what, and Chris is on the call here today too. What Chris and I discovered was generally when things are not going right, it's because you're out of sequence.
Yeah.
And he was truly out of sequence. He was focused on the end thing without a delivery mechanism. And
right.
And I couldn't get my head around it. I was like, I don't see how we're going to pull this off. And
right.
I never like people to like spend money on something that I can't figure out how we're going to make it work.
Yeah. And I actually told his friend Richard that as well, that you had such integrity and honesty. So the bottom line is, so now I had the whole conversation about narrowing it down to one avatar. And I think that the hard part is, like, Woody wants me to study the ACT program. And I think the hard part is we have to get the avatar and then speak the language. And so but at least there's now he has the focus on developing this syndication program and developing whatever else, the buying and selling program. They're going to move forward with that Spectrum TV ad on the local market, the local cable channel, and somehow merge the two, use ACT. And he wants to make a website with you, John. And so, it's still the same step that we have to figure out how to get the avatar and then talk to that avatar.
Yeah,
and
course, you've got to get that messaging right before we start creating the site. Like I hate to jump into site development before the messaging is ready.
Right.
Because it really never comes out right.
Yeah. So and
especially advertising, like, that's the T part of ACT. That's the last thing in the sequence. And I tell you, every time I see something go awry, it always comes down to something being out of sequence.
Yeah. So it's like him and I are in the same place. With me, with my own business, he's got to develop the he's got to figure out the avatar, then develop the copy, then develop the product. It's all not done. So there's a lot to do. But the good news is that he made the leap. He made the transition, the shift.
That was big.
That was really big. It took him 3 weeks of, like, I think he had a mini dark night of the soul, because he was like, okay, but he said this week when I came to work, he said, okay, John's going to be really happy. I'm a real estate guy, you know, so you got to him. He's good.
Yeah, I just don't like to see people go down a dark path, a rabbit hole. And
well, yeah, we want to help him make money, so that's the goal, and and serve people. He's definitely into serving people. So it was just what product that people really want, because it's hard to sell joy. That's an end result. Like, I'm sure after you buy your house, you're joyful. But, let's hope. But and then we were talking about how he loves the idea of when you taught about timelines and the timeline of your customer with the pregnancy dress all the way to the kid goes to college.
Yeah, that's lifetime value right there.
Yeah, so we were trying to figure out how to create a timeline with like his type of people, with his customers. And so it's just a lot to do. So we're still, so now we're at developing the avatar. I'm gonna go listen again. And so if you could give us any tips, is it like, I even said to them, what if you picked, like, is this a good way to think, John? Or I had said to them, because these guys, you know, Woody had, in case you all don't know, he had throat cancer and he had owned 3 Keller Williams franchises. But when he went through the cancer, it took 6 years and 9 operations. Anyway, he's got the like hole in his throat, the trachea, whatever it is. So he has to put his finger over his throat to talk. And he obviously used to be very successful and could talk fluidly, and now it's a little more challenging. But oh my God, I lost my train of thought. Brain. My head, I have a very bad headache today. I don't know why. What was I saying, you guys? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's very enthusiastic, and you know, he's been trying to recruit me to work with him now for a long time, and I'm just like, Woody, I'm just not going to take that ride with you. we have to fix your train before I'm going to get on board.
Right. That you just reminded what I was trying to make the point. Because it's been so hard to get the avatar. I said, what about if you picked an avatar and reverse engineered it? Like if you pick the people that were wealthy, that were having empty nests, that wanted to sell their big house and maybe buy a smaller, cool condo on a golf course. Like, how would we do that, John? Because they're having a hard time figuring out who to talk to. And then, you know, I'm not quite sure how to go from there. You know what I mean?
Well, once you identify the segment, like let's say the segment is he wants to focus on people that want to sell a luxury house, and I don't know that that's really the segment for him, but let's say it is. He needs to do the wants, emotions, and beliefs lesson on that person that's wealthy, that has that house. What is their wants, emotions, and beliefs? What does their timeline look like? What's their desired outcome? Why are they selling the house? Why is it important? All of that stuff is going to roll into the big idea. It's like all of these pieces of ACT, they're all pieces with a very, very strong purpose.
So we could pick, just like, that's perfect, because that's kind of like they do they want to help handicapped people, but they also want to help anybody. So aside from that syndication program, the direct buying and selling of houses, like I set up his LinkedIn account last night, and that was one of the categories that he has expertise in. And I mean, he was very, very successful. So he knows what he's talking about, and so does his friend and business partner. They're the real deal in this niche. Of advertising. I mean, of real estate.
Yeah, Jim kind of hit it right on the head there in the comments in the chat. And this is what I was really kind of positioning for Woody in the first part of this, was if he wants to help people and actually give joy to people that don't have it, why doesn't he go and focus on people that have been through a traumatic experience like he has, that are handicapped? Now they don't have the advantage that maybe they had before. And here comes Woody to the rescue and says, hey guys, let me show you how to use this little thing called real estate to put your life back together.
I'm glad this is recorded because I can't write fast enough.
Let me show you. I was in the dark hole that you were in, and I crawled out. Let me show you the road map. You know, I left a popcorn trail behind me that you can follow.
Right.
And that way, he's really going to deliver what he wanted to do in the first place, was enjoy your joy, but
Right.
he's going to give them a vehicle to get them to that destination.
Right, and like you said, he's not giving that up. It's going to be a like ancillary area. Like,
Yeah.
you know, once you create the relationship, you know, as you deepen the relationship, you can offer more things. But I'm going to write down what Jim wrote.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And,
we're still at developing the avatar for Woody, and it's a new game. It's a new focus, but.
yeah, and just assure him, just make sure you assure him that he doesn't have to just have one ultimately, but you got to start with one.
No, I did a good job representing you last night or the other night to Richard, because I explained, I said, well, John says we pick one niche avatar, we do the split thing and
Dial it in.
You tweak it and you figure out and you get one winning formula. And I said, and then, because Woody wants to buy Kartra and use it, but it's premature right now. But then, and I said to his friend Richard, I said, you then in Kartra can clone that and tweak the copy and focus on a whole nother niche avatar. So I got that part down. We just have to get the first one, you know, and of course, then the copy, and then Woody was wanting to know like how to create the timeline. And I said, well, let's not worry about a timeline. Let's get the program to sell them, and then the campaign and the sequence.
Yeah.
You know, so get the avatar.
Yeah, and never like stall out because you just can't decide. I mean, there's a really cool saying that I had somebody told me once. I don't even remember who told me, but I remember it being said. It had a pretty big impact on me. And they said, let's just do something even if it's not right.
Yeah.
You know, because
exactly.
as long as you've got one of your segments, it's never going to be like completely wrong. Maybe there's another one that you'll get to that's more profitable, but if you don't get the first one, you'll never get anything.
Right. So I'm gonna
even if it's not right.
Right. So I'm gonna listen to this recording again and go back and check the avatar section out and try to just pick one person and write copy to it, you know, or define the person. And then, so that's where we're at. And I feel like we're going to need a little bit of help to plug it all in the right ways, you know, because I don't know how to do that yet.
Well, yeah, bring it on to the call and let everybody learn.
Okay, so
that's what it's all about. If you guys ever have something you want me to look at, or, you know, that's what this is about. So this is about group learning. So I would much rather work on stuff for you guys in here than just me talk to hear myself talk.
Yeah. Well, you never do that.
Jeff, go ahead. You had a question there? Just unmute there. There you go.
Thank you.
How can you tell who the engineer is? Can't find the unmute button. Gosh. Now, just a quick update. My website will be live, and I'll ask for a review on that next week. We should be done this weekend. So we're going back through everything, you know, back through the ACT program, looking at everything, seeing how to retune and adapt. And we're also going to launch we've already started it, but we're spooling it up, a series where we're doing 15-minute live casts
Okay.
to spotlight business, you know, as the economy's starting to open back up, to
Yeah.
spotlight local businesses. And then on the back end, we're tuning social media advertising to the local markets for the businesses that we spotlight. So that's open to everybody. You don't have that functioning the way I wanted to. So as we're building the processes out and getting them fine-tuned, it's like starting with family and friends. So if you
Well,
want to,
cool. Yeah, drop the
Good.
link in here in the chat for anybody that wants to check that out with you. And Russ asked about Shantha's link. I tried it. It worked for me. The form or from inbox to mailbox.com. It worked for me. So let's see. Oh, and Chris, did you want to come out? I saw you unmuted a little while ago there.
Hello, everyone. You're damn right about being out of sequence. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was trying to put the caboose where the engine goes, and and the train ain't gonna run.
And I wouldn't let you do it, would I?
No. And you know, it's so funny. I was like going to you for, I talked to you on like an emotional level, like I'm distraught. I can't get it. And then, but also on a practical level, like, you know, this goes here and this goes there. And what I'm trying to say is that you calmly listened to it and said, you know, you're out of sequence, right? And what I'm saying, when you pointed that out, being out of sequence, it addressed my emotional frustration and, you know, it's not working. It addressed that, but it also addressed the practical side of what to do next. So you know what I mean? It's like just do it in sequence, and it takes away all the frustration and worry, like, how am I going to get this to work? And it takes away all the, there's so many things to do. There's so many things no, there's a sequence. This is the next thing, do the next thing. So that was very simple, and it worked on 2 levels. But I just want to say, John, that like, I was going to send you an email. I've disappeared since then. And, but only because, and here's the thing, only because my old life came back. I've been editing a project for a client nonstop that's due at 4 o'clock today. And what I'm trying to say is I jumped back into my old exchange time for money job, which in this economy, I'm like, this is the greatest thing. I'm gonna exchange time for money and earn. And I realized, wait a minute, this is like a hamster on a wheel saying, my wheel is back. I get to run on the wheel. In other words, the time I'm putting in, it's not going anywhere. It's given me, so all I'm trying to say, when this finishes today, and then I have one last other project to finish by Friday, I am jumping back into the next thing in the sequence to build an online platform, to build an online economy for myself, and to build online products. And awesome. And it was just real blessed. And I thought, oh crap, I got to go back to work again. But the blessing is I get to see what the old way of doing things is like. And now that I'm dialed into the right sequence of what's ahead, I want to get off the hamster wheel and get on the right path. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that hamster wheel is not fun. Definitely not.
Hey, John, I got a quick question. Is there a template that I can use to import contacts into Kartra that is readily available, like a sample Excel spreadsheet columns?
Okay, here's the thing. It is not a good idea to import contacts into Kartra.
Or leads at all?
It's not a good idea.
Wow.
They watch that like a hawk. And if you, I have told this to like at least a half a dozen people, and everyone that I told it to didn't listen to me, and they all lost their Kartra mail accounts. Every one of them. It has been 100% on that recommendation. So they are very, very sticky about their email reputation. And what I have done, the way I've successfully done it is, like, let's say I'm at an event and I get, 10 or 20 business cards and I want to enter them in manually. I create a web page with a form on it and I enter them through the form myself. And when Kartra sees a thing come through and it sees a prospect generated through a form, they do not see that the same way as an import. When they see you import, the spammer flag goes sky high.
Wow.
And if there is even one complaint, or if you have emails that are on a blacklist, or if they bounce, if a certain amount of them bounce, they would just shut your email account off. It's not the end of the world, because you can get a different email through Kartra. Like, you can use SendGrid, you can just connect it in your Kartra account. You can still send mail, but it's an additional step that's a pain in the ass that you don't need to go through. So protect your Kartra mail account at all costs.
Yeah, so here's the situation. It's a client that's bringing over from Infusionsoft. These are active customers. There's some duplicates that we're filtering out that we need to clear up or merge.
How many active customers are there?
Like 5,000 over the years.
Oh yeah. You import a list of 5,000, you're going to be toast. I can guarantee you.
Can I ask a question piggybacking off of that?
Sure.
If you were to take that email list on whatever you're using for email and send them some sort of offer for a freebie that goes through a form, that would be okay, right? Because they would still be coming through. So I could email through MailChimp or whatever. Hey, I'd like to, send you this little list of tips on whatever. And then it goes through a form that takes into Kartra.
Yeah. But he has he's got 5,000 customers. So that's kind of a different thing. Like, I had Rosie, I don't think she's on the call today, but Rosie had about 500 people in an Entreport database. And I gave her like 10 different subject lines to send out. I said, send these 10 emails, over a month period of time to try and move people onto your list. And out of 500, I think she had only about 100 of them that actually moved over. And I said, well, you probably had 400 that were never going to do anything with you anyway at that point. If you sent these 10 with all these different subject lines and they didn't move over with you, they're probably not really part of your list anyway. But now in your case, you have 5,000 customers that have purchased something that you need to support. That's a different ball game there. You need to get them in. So what I would probably recommend in that particular instance is that you forego the Kartra mail and you set up a SendGrid account. Put the integration of SendGrid in your Kartra account. Then you can import them in, because they don't care about that. That's not going to damage their mail reputation. So that's going to be your best solution. And as far as importing them, I haven't personally done an import myself in Kartra, but it should be a very simple process. You should be able to import first name, last name, email, and whatever else you want. You should be able to just create a CSV file to do that.
So is it possible to import them into the leads, or is that the same thing, basically? Put them into the leads versus the contacts?
Well, what you can do, you can import them onto a list, and when you import them onto the list, you can put an automation. Like, you can do a temp list. Let's say you create a temporary list inside Kartra, and you're going to import them into this temporary list. You can create an automation that anybody that goes on this list gets added to this other list and gets this tag added to it.
Oh, wow. So if they do purchase from a forum transaction, that would then trigger them to be opted in, essentially?
Correct. You can also have it like if there's a membership area that that customer is going to get access to, you can also put that in the automation. You know, when somebody gets added to this list, add them to that list, put this tag on them, and give them access to this membership area and put them in this follow-up sequence. So,
Do you have someone that you recommend that would be able to, handle that for them or me in order to save time so that they don't get banned? Because I'm not, I don't want to get their account. This is a client's account that we signed up, and we're transitioning them over from Infusionsoft.
okay.
But
Well, if you do it with SendGrid, you don't have any worry about getting them banned because SendGrid is made for that.
okay, so import it into SendGrid.
Well, you're importing it into Kartra, but you're using SendGrid as the mail gateway. See, where you get in trouble with Kartra is you import a list. Kartra knows which emails are on that imported list, and then you use the Kartra mail to send out to the list, and they bounce, and it sees blacklists, and it gets complaints, and it's game over. You're done. If you send out using SendGrid, they don't care. Kartra could care less because it's not. There's no impact on their email reputation.
So basically, I need to sign up to SendGrid, import into Kartra, and then assign that list to SendGrid to send out a welcome email.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's pretty simple. I mean, it sounded complicated. Even sounded complicated when I said it, but it's pretty simple. I know Tammy's on the call. I know Tammy is doing Kartra work now for people, so she might be somebody that you could connect with. Tammy Guerrero.
Okay. Yeah, Tammy, if you want to shoot me an email of what you charge to do these type of imports into Kartra with SendGrid, let me know.
Awesome. Yeah, she says yes in the chat.
Okay.
Chris, put your email in the chat so she can get direct to you.
I have a question about Zapier. First of all, is Zapier a paid something or other, or you just sign up for it?
Zapier has a paid service. They also have a free service. When you go onto their website, it's it's zapier.com, I believe.
Right.
And when you look at their pricing grid, you'll see they have a free option, and then they have a paid option depending on what level you need, how many zaps you need, how many different automations that you need, all of that. You probably could get away with the free one.
Okay.
But even if not, it's not very much for like the services.
Okay, yeah, because what it is Jessica got this new program thing that's basically supposed to get like actual real phone numbers and whatever. And you can connect through Zapier to build a list. Obviously, I needed to hear the segment immediately before this talking about I need to use that not Kartra mail, but the other thing.
Yeah, just be careful. If you're importing a list in any fashion, you want to be careful.
Well, what this is it's like it automatically it looks like a one. You're clicking on them individually, and then it sends them individually. So I don't know if through Zapier if it's going to.
And I don't think Kartra is going to look at Zapier as an import. That's just going to look at as an ad from another, because traditionally what you would use Zapier for is, let's say you had some other autoresponder that you didn't want to give up, but you wanted those people to automatically be added to Kartra as well.
Right.
You can connect the Zap, so when they opt in that other opt-in box, the Zap sends the information across to Kartra and adds them to your database over there as well. Or if you have, like, let's say you have a third-party software and you sell memberships in this other software, you can do the same thing. When somebody signs up over there, you can send the zap through to Kartra that now adds them to your Kartra database, puts a Kartra tag on there that says they purchased this product, and then, you know, it can add them to an automation or any number of things, which is really cool. So
Yeah.
it's a way to not have to give up other things that you might have important in your business, but also to let Kartra take over and do the heavy lifting of your marketing.
Right. So this product is called Seamless AI. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Seamless.ai.
Okay. Yeah. So that should work. And I know I've played around in Zapier recently just to see what stuff is already added to Kartra, and it's got a lot of connections already.
Yeah.
So
Well, this specifically wants to connect to a CRM to basically like make your life easier.
okay.
You don't have to manually input everything. But yeah, you can like manually click, you can search by industry, you can search by like revenue of the company, you can search by like all kinds of different things, and then you can add certain contacts so you can hit them up. So you'd be very selective about what you're trying to go after. I wouldn't just be using Kartra to spam. I would be
Yeah.
very niche on what
it doesn't matter your intention, it's what Kartra sees it as. That's
right,
the more important thing.
Yeah, but I, like I said, I would only be using a few at a time. I wouldn't be mass emailing, 500 people at one time off of a brand new list that is untested.
Because I can tell you, I've done like launch promotions with launch partners, and what has happened a lot of times, like when they're opting in, when you do a launch partner, you don't know who you're promoting to really. And there's a lot of people that will try and game the system. So they put bogus emails in when they opt in to see if they'll get what they want on the thank you page without having to actually give you their email address. So in Kartra knows that's a bad email address. I've done launch deals with launch partners where I got, probably 30 bad emails in one day. But Kartra didn't penalize me because they actually came in through forms. It wasn't me importing the list.
Right.
So they're lenient on that angle, but they're not lenient on importing a list. That just throws up the spam flag.
Right. So but Zapier should soften that to a certain degree.
I would think so. I don't think you'll have a problem with them, flagging your account from that. I don't see that happening.
So, John, I'm a little bit confused. You said you get flagged for importing a list. I mean, you said that it's okay to import the list as long as you send it out through SendGrid. What is the distinction that you're trying to clarify?
Well, the flag goes up for you using the Kartra mail bridge to send your mail. If you're not using it, there's no flag to go up. If you're using SendGrid, they don't care.
It's okay to import the list as long as you don't.
As long as you don't use Kartra mail to send to it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the distinction.
Okay. All right. Great.
Question on that: if you use like a service like SendGrid to whittle down your list and slowly delete things that bounce or whatever, would you then be able to? Do you think you'd be able to eventually switch over to Kartra Mail once you had a solid list?
Yeah, I think that would be no problem. Once you've mailed to that list and you got rid of all the black balls and you got rid of all the bounces and all that, then I think you'd probably be in good shape.
Okay.
But I know, I can tell you for sure, it's been 100% of the people I've seen that imported a list got kicked out of the Kartra Mail.
I don't need any part of that.
Yeah, no, that's just unnecessary. And it kills me too, because every one of them I told not to do it. and then they come back and they're crying because they got kicked out. And I'm like, okay, well, get what you ask for generally. So I have trouble sympathizing on that one. But
well, I'm glad that you told us again, to reiterate, I was about to import the client list.
yeah, I
And
mean, there's generally, if I know the parameters of something, I can usually tell you how to navigate it safely. Like, you know, if you had a 5,000 customer list, you know, we got to get that in, right? There's no two ways around it. But to navigate it safely, do it with the SendGrid so you don't damage your Kartra mail reputation.
Right.
And Chris, it sounds like you could do the same thing that I was thinking. You can eventually get rid of the SendGrid once you've made sure that all the contacts are good and not getting bounced or whatever.
Right, and I think there is a service that will verify that there are valid emails, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know how valuable those systems are.
Yeah, well, Kartra not only looks at valid emails, they also look at the email reputation that you're sending to. Like I've had real, actual live customers with a good email address that got blacklisted, and I can't send mail to them. And what happens when that happens to you, you have to put in a support ticket and tell them that, look, this is one of my customers. I need to communicate with this person and you need to whitelist them. And they will do it. And when I've asked them why that happens, they'll say that customer could be a potential habitual complainer of commercial email. So they are on a list to watch out for. And when Kartra cross-references that list with people coming in, they will just blacklist them because of their past habits, just to protect themselves.
Right.
So that happens. I've had it probably, in my personal account, I've had it probably 20 times in the last 2 years.
Did they ever resolve that issue that Lisa Gold was talking about, where a customer is already previously in the Kartra system onto another someone's list that would invalidate their ability to be added to their customer list?
I'm not really sure that was actually true. I think what had happened with Kartra, when somebody signs up, when they originally sign up, I believe that their email is automatically locked in. So when they go and change their email, I think Kartra had a problem where they weren't updating that original email. So if the email was bad and they tried to reset their password, it was going to a bad email. And then when they tried to reconnect, it was because it was in their account. I don't believe for a minute that was in another account. I think it was in her account.
Oh.
But I'm pretty sure that's what the underlying problem was. And I'm not sure if they've got that figured out, because I had the same thing. That's why I was familiar with it. I've had the same thing with with Missy Anderson. She had signed up as an affiliate, and then she wanted to change, I guess the domain she originally signed up with, she didn't have anymore. So that email didn't work. And we had a hell of a time. We weren't able to fix it. So I just had her create a different account with a different email address, and we just, went on our way.
Yeah.
But I think because of what I experienced, I think that was what was going on, is when you create an original account, I don't think Kartra was updating the email of the account when you updated it in there. It looked like it, it was in there. And when you sent mail out to the account, it would go out to that mail. But I think if you did a password reset or you tried to gain access to the account, there was no way to gain access to the account.
Yeah.
If you had an original bad email in there. And then the other thing, even trying to add that account again, it would flag it anyway because it was a bad email address. So you'd just be kind of up a creek if that was the case.
Right.
And that was a problem. I alerted them to that. I sent in a ticket and told them that that was a serious flaw in their system. So but I don't know. I never circled back around to see if they fixed it. So, all right, guys. Well, our calls seem to be going 90 minutes these days, so that's cool. No problem there. But I think we're probably to the end here. I'm going to get ready. I've got another one coming up here at 1 o'clock. So I'm going to hop off. Hey, thank you all for being on here and making this a great resource. And I know I appreciate it, and I think everyone else on here does as well. So have a great week, you guys, and we'll be back on next week.
Thank you, John.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.